and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Maria Villar with SAP, and we're partnering with CDO Magazine and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Rex Davis, CDO of RBC. There's so much technology that is coming at us. And I think that's one of the things that I see as dramatically different than when I started as a chief data officer, just the amount of technology that we have to solve some of these data management problems. And there are pluses and minuses, but what do you see as the most promising technology for us as data professionals?
So I'm not going to say it is a technology, so I'm not going to name any particular vendor or anything. I think the most exciting technology at the moment is where synthetic data is heading. Right. So I think the most exciting element is synthetic data. I think.
Can you talk a little bit more about that and what that means to maybe those that are not?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, for years it's always been let's fill in the holes of what we don't have. But actually where we're really going is let's create completely artificial versions of everything. And I really feel that if you look at the organizations, you look at our overall field, that simulated persons, systems, etc., is very exciting because we've got the science or the data science to be able to do that now, right? And again, why is that so exciting is because you'll have a scenario where we don't have to, it provides much more privacy. It provides a lot more different way of training our models. It allows us to do different stress testing. I think it's very exciting. That's where I think the real big technology gain in the next few years for us will be.
Well, that's a great answer. I hadn't thought about it that way, but you're right. That is going to help solve a lot of problems. So what about AI and machine learning? We're all hearing a lot about that. What's your view about that?
So, and I say this, I certainly don't want to come across as dismissive, right? Because it's clearly something we're all very much talking about. And I just came, before I joined RBC, I had 420 coding data scientists, probably one of the largest collections in private hand of proper coding data scientists, all working very heavily in machine learning and AI. I see great benefits, particularly in the ability for us to reduce a lot of manual activities that don't need to be done. I'm going to give my favorite analogy on this, and this is what I think it means for CDOs particularly. In the past, and when I kicked off in this game as a young fella, we had to make hypotheses. It was like looking at a haystack, and you would go through that haystack and you would shovel out a little bit of hay each day, and then you would come up with a single needle. Nowadays, we vacuum up that haystack in seconds and we have 7 to 8 needles. Right? You still got to work out. Now, one of those needles will be exactly the needle we would have found in the past, right? Same needle. These other 6 needles, maybe 4 of them will be complete nonsense, right? They'll all be correlated, it'll all be right, but it actually won't be the real business answer that we're looking for. And 3 of these needles, the other 2 needles, I've made myself look like a bad data scientist there by forgetting how many needles I've just picked. But the other needles will be better answers than the original needle. And that's where it really leads us to. That is going to be the benefit of AI and ML. It's all in that space. Do I believe it's possibly a little bit overblown? Possibly, right? Possibly. Has it got incredible benefits? Yes, but you've got to get our data in the right order first. There's all that sort of activity and other parts. But that's where I feel that it sits.
Yeah. I also think that AI and ML will help us as data professionals make the job of data management easier too. It's not just the analytics for the business, but a lot of times we can't get the heart and soul and the data stewards and all that to do all the work, heavy lifting they have to do. So if we could kind of add some AI and ML to that to make that job easier, I think that would help us all.
I agree, Maria. I absolutely agree. And I think, let's do the simple part of it. Let's just use my analogy that I just used then. Even if it presents to you the most likely, for using our data stewards and other parts, it should be this number instead of this number, right? We're doing some data quality or other parts. Presenting the 3 or 4 most likely is a terrific piece of work, right? Same logic. Here you go. You've still got to pick which one's the most likely, but it's a lot better than doing that each and every time. And that's the sort of great benefit. And of course, the other thing is the robotic process automation mixed in with the AI. Just there are so many activities that we have that just if I just look at my own teams, I have incredibly skillful people that lose time nowadays on activities that just take too much time, too manual, too hard to get around. All of this to be able to help them. There's so much more work upstream that we need them to be tackling and they have skills for. Being able to remove that pain will have extraordinary benefits.
Yeah. So one other technology or a trend that I want you to comment on is moving to the cloud, right? Many companies are moving business processes, they're moving their data, they're moving their applications to the cloud and having this IT cloud first strategy. And banking has been a little bit slower than some of the other industries because regulation, privacy, and other things. But what's your feel about cloud, managing data in the cloud, and just kind of the future of that for RBC?
Well, let me answer this through what you just sort of described. Obviously there's a lot more regulation and other parts. I, in my previous life, had a extraordinary successful cloud migration element that was brought about by business need, right? So that was the part of my prior version of movement to the cloud. One of the things that I find that if I look at the sort of things we need to do, more of it is about how we share and utilize our data across the group and potentially with other people. And I think that's the real focus, right? Is really around data sharing and data augmentation and other parts. So I think if we keep our eyes on what's the right strategy for that, that would be a better way of influencing our cloud strategy overall.
Okay, great. And then now this is a little bit off the record, but I wanted to ask you, given all of your experience in data science, one of the things that I hear a lot of is there's just conflict between data scientists and data stewards and the governance role and the CDO and this, and CAO in an organization, and you've got them combined. How do you see that working out? Are there any tips and techniques on how the two teams can work better together?
So, and first and foremost, I'm a data scientist, right? So I always
lean there, right?
Always lean a little way forward. So, and if you speak to any of the data scientists in my past, I always sit there and say, you need to do more for your home constituency. You feel like you've moved off. There is always this natural tension between these groups. What is important is a couple of things. First off is empathy. The second thing is making sure each and every one is engineered in the right way to be able to do the right activities. And I think if I look at where things go a little bit astray, is that you have data scientists having to do a lot of data engineering and then a lot of data stewarding jobs and other bits and pieces. The best operational model that you can have for a data scientist is serve them up the spot that they need to operate in, a proper safe space that is set up that they can start playing and operating in. One of the greatest tragedies that I see in our field is data scientists basically fighting the good fight, working through all the layers of the organization to make something happen. And I feel it sucks away a bit of the activities. I'm trying to use the right words here. So as I'm pausing and
maybe drain them, right?
Drain them, right? It genuinely sucks the life out of them. They don't like doing it, right? They want to get on, they want to create models, they want to do different things, and we create these barriers from their perspective to do things. And of course, they're not built to be able, they're not designed to work through just different forms of regulatory elements to it. So you've got to create the right spaces for them to operate in safely. And that's a challenge for many organizations. So, a lot of, if I look at people that are coming to less mature organizations and organizations I've helped get started in their discovery phase of working with data in my prior life, they have had internal data science teams, or they've got the more full stack data scientists early, and none of this other element is in place. And it's a waste of investment, right? That person will leave. They have to be operating in this safe space to be able to do their work.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it, safe space. I also talk to other data scientists who say, look, the two teams should work together to understand, well, what's the most important data that needs to have the highest quality, and have the data governance team or the data quality team work with them as well. So there's lots of ways to, I think, partner, as you said, but empathy is a great word. So look, you've shared so much great experience and advice for us, Rex. Any closing advice, anything we didn't cover that you may want to also share with us?
No, I think I don't think I've got anything particular. I haven't got any great final words, so to speak, of different things. My only one of people have asked me about is I have enjoyed the fact from my own career that I've been able to live in so many places and work on so many various forms of data, and I always mention to anyone at the end of anything that I talk about that is an experience that I'm very lucky to have had, and I encourage anyone to do it. Is the more different forms of data that you see, the more different environments that you operate in, the better off you are.
Okay, great advice. So thank you, Rex Davis, for joining me today. And for those in the audience, check out more of our interviews at cdomagazine.tech. Thank you.